presenting Governor Whitmer with her State of the State address.
The question we have to ask ourselves is, do we believe in Michigan? I know I do. I believe because of you.
Incoming call from Wayne County Jail.
I want to thank you, Governor Whitmore. I was a stand-up comic with a modest career. It was tough. Corona came and you shut down the comedy clubs. I went and got me some unemployment and never came. So I planned myself an armed robbery. And now I'm on Sale Block Easy Street. 3 hots and a cot, no heating bill, and I even got a bitch to do my laundry. And the great part is, as fucked up as the court system is with Corona, looks like I'll be here another 5 years rent-free. Thank you, Governor Whitmore.
I will work hard every day to put Michiganders first. And I will always believe in Michigan because we are strong and getting stronger every day. Thank you and good night.
Let's just did breaking news. Dub or bullshit. Dub or bullshit.
No bullshit. Show.
Cabrera, get off the phone, man.
Hey, did I hear that right? They call you guys Michiganders?
It's Michiganian. That's another sore spot in my ass.
Yeah, that sounds like a bunch of ducks.
That's what I'm saying. You know, that's what Abraham Lincoln made fun of us. Called us Michiganders, because, like, you know, the goose and the gander, like we walk around quack nut. Okay, look, fix that in post. Let's get to this.
Absolutely.
Everything will become apparent. Look here. With an all-time number of people caught illegally entering the United States through the southern border in 2021, American citizens, you and me, law enforcement, like Chris Cabrera here with the Border Patrol, are left to wonder who got away. Get the music down, man. This is serious shit. Who got away? Karen, are you on the phone? All right. Have potential terrorists managed to escape the long arm of the law? We have breaking news. We now know of one case where the government caught a person who's flagged on the terror watch list only to release him into the interior, his family in tow, now here in Michigan. The Biden administration has allowed Issam Bazzi, do we have his photograph? Here he is. Let me know if you see him around. Who was caught waiting along the shores of the Rio Grande River in Texas last November to be released on his own recognizance while he awaits a March asylum hearing in Detroit. According to, off camera because the NSA will try to take a screenshot. According to these sensitive documents obtained exclusively by us in this basement, Bazzi and his family are living, presumably, in Dearborn in a house owned by his cousin on a tree-lined street near Wyoming and Warren Avenues. I knocked on his door Wednesday and nobody came to the door. Bazzi, a 50-year-old citizen of Venezuela, born in Lebanon, is not supposed to be in America because federal law prohibits those with suspected connections to terrorist groups from entering. It also bans their spouses and children. Now, it's unknown which group Bazzi might be affiliated with because his profile, according to these documents, is coded as classified in the federal terrorism database. In fact, The FBI's Terrorist Screening Center, which maintains the list, will not confirm nor deny whether an individual is even on it. So it's very likely that Bazzi does not know he is on the suspected terror list until now. Hello, sir. Get out. Bazzi, according to these documents, is described as a person with, quote, high derogatory information, unquote, means high stuff, and with ties to an unspecified terror group. Big stuff, not a guy that pushes a popsicle cart and happens to be related to somebody. High derogatory information, people. Serious business. Bazzi and his family were detained in Texas last November as authorities decided what to do with him. Background checks and at least one interrogation were conducted. The FBI recommended that Bazzi continue to be detained. Agents from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, deemed him a flight risk. And yet, officials from the Department of Homeland Security, presumably in D.C., ordered him to be released. One of the mitigating factors for his release, according to these documents, was that Bazzi had a precondition that made him highly susceptible to COVID-19. And you might wonder what that precondition is.
What is that precondition?
Bazzi's overweight. And so, the tubby terrorist and his family were discharged on or about December 9th with the promise that Bazzi would show up in March in Detroit for his immigration hearing. In any event, current and former federal law enforcement officials say they have no recollection of one person with a confirmed hit in the database being allowed entry into the United States, especially one who entered the country by raft. Bazzi's release may have simply been a breakdown in intelligence between the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security. Two DOJ officials with direct knowledge of the case tell me. Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas last year gave temporary protective status to people from Venezuela living in the United States, allowing them to stay and work here temporarily due to the economic and political turmoil there. But that order only applies to those Venezuelan nationals who were physically present in the United States before March 9th, 2021. Bazzi seemed to think this applied to any Venezuelan who could make it to American soil. I'm going to quote here. Claims that he heard the Venezuelans were being accepted into the United States for asylum claims, his federal interrogator wrote. Now, according to these interrogation notes, Bazzi said that he, his wife, and his daughter took a commercial flight from Caracas, Venezuela, last October to Monterrey, Mexico. Okay? Now, you're in asylum. Asylum is for what? Religious persecution, political persecution, ethnic persecution. It has nothing to do with being broke or your country's violent. If that was the case, George, poverty and violence, you get asylum for that? That means half of Detroit could go to Windsor. It's nonsense. From there, Bazzi contacted a human smuggler known as Yoni, who transported the family to Matamoros, a Mexican border town across the Rio from Brownsville, Texas. They traversed the river, landing in an immigration hotspot known as the Washout, where they gave themselves up to Border Patrol agents, making the claim of asylum. Federal agents declared Bazzi a flight risk should he be let into the United States, according to these documents. Yet they were overruled by ICE HQ and released. It's unclear who paid for the Bazzi family's travel north or whether they received COVID vaccinations. Of course, according to these documents, he had no equities, no money. So guess who paid for it?
We did.
Local law enforcement based in Metro Detroit does not seem to know that Bazzi is presumably living here in Michigan. The Detroit office of the FBI did not respond to inquiries, nor did the director of ICE, right? ICE, we all know what that is, right? Mm-hmm. The Dearborn Police Department did not respond to questions. So guess what? It's hot. This one is hot. It's a football. Nobody wants to touch it. This is some bullshit.
Major fuck up.
Okay, but not for Bazzi. The suburban life should fit him nicely, right? because you go to the neighborhood, dig.
Hey.
He likes to eat. Apparently, he's a portly.
He's
you know,
tubby, yeah.
There's a Taco Bell nearby, McDonald's, a halal pizza parlor, all within walking distance of the tidy Cape Cod house he lists as his temporary address. Okay, regular COVID testing, no problem. There's a CVS around the corner. If he contracts COVID, heaven forbid, he might avail himself of the urgent care just up on Wyoming. And should Bazzi choose to get lost in the thrill of America, there's the U-Haul rental facility just around the corner. And finally, if he needs an immigration attorney, well, there's the storefront law office at the end of the block.
Unbelievable.
Chris Cabrera, is he with us?
I'm with you.
Hey, brother, you are a Border Patrol agent, but you are here speaking as the vice president of the the National Border Patrol Council, right?
That's correct.
Okay, dude, have you ever heard of somebody with a hit on the terrorism watch list being allowed entry into the country?
You know, we've had some people that were from terrorist countries, countries known to harbor terrorism that have been released. Some of them been removed. But, you know, I think from listening to everything you're saying here, there's so many holes in this story. If Mr. Bazzi had tried to come in the country legally, he would have been denied. As being a public charge, he couldn't provide for himself, so he couldn't come in legally, so he comes in illegally. And I think that's everything that's what's wrong with this system. You dig in a little deeper that he doesn't have any money, but he flew from Venezuela to Mexico. If he didn't have any money, how did he fly? There's just so much that's wrong here. And had this happened 12 months ago when we had the Remain in Mexico policy, none of this would have happened. You know, so I think what people need to understand is, I mean, this is what we voted for. This is a direct result of where we're at. Over 2 million people in the last year. And that's not counting the gotaways. And the gotaway number we put out is extremely low. I mean, I think the gotaway number we put out was 500,000, and that's just a fantasy right there. There's no way that's.
Let me jump in there. The gotaway number means like 1.7 million people were apprehended.
Yeah.
What the government wants to tell you is another 500,000 got away. They're in. Now, let me say this, brother. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've covered the border for a better part of a decade of my life. Those numbers traditionally is at least a 1-for-1, right?
Yeah.
At least a 1.
It's usually a 50%. And if you look at that 1.7, that was from January 1 to January 1. If you look from January 21st to January 21st, you can be closer to 2 million. That numbers are extremely high. What we're doing is we're beckoning people to come here. We're encouraging people to come here and take advantage of our laws. That's all we're doing. We're encouraging people to come over here and break the law to do it. The sad thing is yeah, you know, you have one side of it, people that are coming for a better life, coming to work. I get that. That's understandable. I mean, I think if I was in that situation, if I was born on the other side, yeah, I probably would have done it too. I get it. Yep. But what you got to look at is there's people that are coming over that are sex offenders that are getting away or being released. Down here, we don't have an opioid problem. We don't have a meth problem down here. It comes through here, but we don't have that problem here. You guys have that problem up there. Ohio has a huge problem. And they think the immigration system, it doesn't affect them. Well, it does, because we're like at a parade and we're on the sidelines, and this stuff is coming through our neighborhood and ended up in your neighborhood. So it doesn't affect us up here as much as it affects you guys.
ICE and Border Patrol become basically a travel agency, in my opinion.
You know, we've become we've become the smugglers. We're completing the smuggling process. And I'll give you a quick one, because this kind of touches close to you guys. About 4 or 5 months ago, I was down there working, and we have this group come in, and there's a little girl there. She's a tiny little girl. I mean, super tiny. She said she was 7 years old, and you know, I take her word for it. I don't think she would lie about it. From the looks of her, she looked about 4. You know, obviously malnourished. So she comes in, and I talk to her, and she gives me her paperwork, her birth certificate, and a phone number on it. And I asked her, I said, where are your parents? And she says, well, I don't know my dad, but my mom is in Detroit. And I go, well, okay, well, why is your mom in Detroit? Well, they said my mom left me behind, and I'm to meet her in Detroit. So what happens is, if she had been 6 years old, she could have traveled here with her mom, and they wouldn't have sent her back to Mexico.
Let me
Because
jump in.
that's
Let
a
me
cutoff.
jump in. Let me jump in there, man, because people that listen to this program know we have a relationship, and they've watched you grow, us talk. It's a big move when you say, you know, if I was over there, I'd do it too. But the hang up you have is entrusting your 4-year-old to a human smuggler. And this is,
you know, and that's the thing is if that girl had been 6, she would have been able to cross with her mom. So since she was 7, they would have both been sent back. So the mom got smuggled in and then left the kid behind in care of a smuggler. And the smuggler put that little girl on a train for 3 countries. And then they get to us and we finish the smuggling process by taking that child to Detroit, dropping them off with the mother. Now the mother derives status from this child because now the child has a pending immigration issue.
yes.
But
let's do this.
Child in danger. I mean, how can you put that kid in danger and then get him back at the end of the day?
Let's do this. Here's the thing for the fancy pants limousine liberal, right? Look here, man. You see Chris here? You see me? This is real life. You have no idea about these fucking gangsters. You have no idea how wild, how dangerous Chris's job is. This is no man's land. Mexico's a failed state. This is organized crime that we are allowing to make billions of dollars smuggling human beings. Nobody's into human trafficking. Here's what we could do, Chris, my opinion. If we have a new administration and we decide we want children to be reunited, regardless of your immigration status in the United States, present the child at the American Embassy in Mexico City or Tegucigalpa, right, or San Jose, and we'll do it properly and cut out the gangsters. That's not what's going on. We got a fucking terrorist here. It's ridiculous.
And you know where it all ties in is this little girl and thousands of other children daily are pushed across this border by the smugglers into the waiting arms of Border Patrol. And we'll make sure they're taken care of. But while we're over there caring for these kids, that's the same time they're sending the people that are trying to get away, the people that have a criminal history because they cannot turn themselves in, and the drugs that are coming across. It's done at the exact same time. There's no reason where people turn themselves in to immigration or coming at 4 a.m. Why would they come at 4 a.m? It's dark. It's cold. Why not send them in the middle of the day? Because that's the same time the bad guys and the drugs are coming across, and they're using them as a distraction.
I'm going to ask you guys, great reporting, Charlie, seriously, about Issam Bazzi. It's, I mean, really amazing stuff. But in that story, there seems to be a lot of miscommunication between agencies, which I thought after we were attacked on September 11th, that was going to improve. Maybe I'm naive. Has it improved in your opinion? Or Chris, do you see an improvement of communication?
I'll take this. And I want to introduce first of all, hi, Karen.
Hey, Charlie.
And George Hunter, the crime dog, the last of the old school crime reporters in the state of Michigan. These are famous people in this country. L.A., New York, Chicago. We got George. Hey, man.
Great writer. Yeah.
Thanks for sitting in.
Appreciate it.
This wasn't a miscommunication. It's obvious by these transmissions that everybody's aware. This was coming from HQ.
Okay.
They just decided to let it happen. Right? Everybody's aware of who's saying what about this guy. Everybody knows. Homeland Security Committee in Congress, FBI, Homeland Security, Border Patrol, everybody knows. Somebody made the decision. And I'm going to promise you, he's the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I don't think he's making that March hearing.
You know what I mean? It's a country of immigrants. I'm pro-immigrant. They add a lot to this country. Let's do it in order and no fucking terrorist. Period.
Seems like a good place to start.
Anybody disagree?
Did we kind of determine in some of our earlier conversations with Chris that a lot of this is intentional, strategic, deliberate? I mean, even the mother's decision to do what she did, Chris, I mean, on both sides, everybody knows, where the loopholes are, where there's a lack of, support or enforcement, and people navigate it to their benefit.
Yeah, the people navigate it, the smugglers navigate it. They're making billions of dollars off this. The sad thing is this has been going on since 2013. Can you imagine if we were a Fortune 500 company? I mean, we would have been bankrupt years ago.
Well, Christ, Chris, I crossed the border with the Sinaloa cartel in 2000. This has started since NAFTA. This thing has its roots in multinational conglomerates, devaluing the peso, people looking for opportunity. The whole world got turned on its head by the big boys. And now I'm looking at Washington going, fuck you, man. George, you are chasing this story. What do you know locally, let's say, about Dearborn law enforcement?
Well, to the point of not communicating, I spoke with ex-Chief Haddad, who was the chief in early December.
In Dearborn?
Yes, he was Dearborn chief when this guy was allegedly let into the neighborhood. He was kind of ticked off about it. He said, no one told me. I should have known. It was his job. He said, and I'm going to quote him in my story. So essentially, he says, it's my job to keep the community safe. And if I'm not given the information that potentially there's somebody here who could harm the community, and I got a problem with that. So I guess maybe the federal, and I don't know this case in particular, but in general, that everybody watches Blue Bloods or whatever, that the feds don't talk to the locals. We had a case here that I worked on maybe 2 years ago, if you remember, where there was an ATF and or DEA informant who was released. He went on to kill 6 people before, I think he committed suicide. He went into the adult bookstore there in Oak Park. I can't, his name escapes me, but I mean, the local, again, authorities were ticked. They were not made aware of any of this. And he was released because he was an informant and went on to kill 6 people.
What the fuck are we paying for? Look, again, right, the chief of police, he's a good guy. Everybody knows Haddad, right? Top-notch law enforcement guy. He can keep a secret. So I'm getting this, Cabrera and Dumas and Hunter and anybody listening, questions like maybe he's an asset that the CIA moved in here and right? Okay, let's work this out. Why wouldn't you bring him in on a cargo plane?
Yeah,
he's coming over on a fucking raft.
Yeah, not
with Yoni.
That sounds like someone that watched too many movies.
This is bullshit. Okay, what do we do about Cabrera? I'm gonna let you go. I know you got serious Border Patrol shit to do. What do we do?
Hey, you want to stop this? There's only one way to stop it, and that's just that one, it has to be legislated. Obviously, there's always going to be people trying to sneak across, right? That's one thing. But the other part of people turning themselves in, it's a loophole. It's a loophole, and they're taking advantage of it. The only way to fix it is to legislate it, close the loophole, a mandatory detention, mandatory removal. Once you get everything secured, then you go ahead and figure out who you're going to let in, who's going to stay, what the policy is going to be for the immigration reform. But you can't do that until you get everything secured. If your sink's overflowing, are you going to start mopping, or are you going to figure out what the problem is? And right now, we're trying to do the reform first, and we're mopping. And by the time we're done mopping, it's still flooded.
Chris, regarding the border, last time we talked to you, we were talking about the number of agents. Has that improved at all? I mean, are you guys getting what you need to? I mean, you stopped this guy, he just got out afterwards. But are you guys getting what you need?
As far as the apprehensions?
No, as far as manpower, yeah.
Resources.
You know, we're getting people coming in at a slow trickle. But people are retiring as soon as they're available. We have a window of 7 to 10 years when you become eligible, and then you can retire anytime in that window.
Wow.
And now, as soon as that window is open, people are just pulling that pin and they're gone.
Yeah, it sounds like the police here, eh, George?
Yeah, they can't keep cops.
I'm out of here.
It's incredible. Yeah,
I got no money, no fucking equipment. Fuck this.
That's not just Detroit. I mean, everybody.
Word 'em up.
They can't find them, and the standards I'm hearing are getting lowered in terms of who they're letting in. If you remember,
that's deep. That's breaking news.
We did a story a couple years ago where a lady had joined Detroit police with this sole purpose of helping her dope dealer buddy. You know, they would have an insider, and they never even visited her house. When, back in the old days, they'd call your high school friends, when they do the background check. According to my sources, they did a Google thing to verify that the house existed, and that was it. Okay, good enough. Sign her up.
I want to make this clear. I don't speak for everybody on this program, but me. I am for funding the police. You want good police, professional Border Patrol. You got to support them. You got to pay them. You want the top notch of this society. You got to pay them. Having said that,
you also, and I agree with that, we've talked about that before, but there are also logistical and operational things that have to be put in place to make sure that the people that you're paying and supporting on one side are able to effectively do their job. So, I mean, it's a comprehensive approach.
Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin, don't get in. I'm just going to talk to you over there off screen. Cabrera, listen to this. See this woman? This woman basically landed this Hindenburg called Detroit when it was dead ass broke and going into bankruptcy. That's why I love her. That's why she's a terrific partner on this. That might sound, what do you call it, George? Nomenclature? Big words? But it's absolutely 100% correct. Processes, planning.
Charlie, we throw money behind everything, and people think that, all we need is more money. Yes, you do need money. Yes, you need resources, but you don't need so many layers of process where nothing ever gets done. And that's where we are. And people keep thinking, we'll put more money behind it. But if you aren't using and applying that money in the right way, you're wasting your money.
Why did we give GM $860 million when it could have gone into schools? It could have gone into mental health. It could have gone into police. It could have gone into bailing out the court system and cleaning it up, like basically what Red was saying. George, we don't got a pot to piss in anymore.
Doesn't Detroit get more money per pupil than any other? Of course, they're mitigating things. To your point, Karen, just throwing money at it by itself with no plan, that doesn't seem to be, seem to be a winning strategy because, again, in Detroit, I think they get more money per pupil than any, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm
going to correct you.
It's not my bailiwick, but I'm pretty sure they do.
No, every student in Michigan gets the same amount.
Okay.
Right? $7,500 from the state.
Okay.
The way that rich school districts get around that is they put money into infrastructure, like school improvement, the swimming pool, the football field. Detroit, actually, to make their note, comes to the suburbs, and we.
As I said, that's not about. The point is that the money isn't what makes the difference. You have a lot of other issues that need to get taken care of.
And now we got a terrorist daughter that we got to put in school. And now, sweetheart, I know hate here. You ain't your dad. Look at him. Look at that guy. Does he look that overweight? He actually is kind of handsome.
He looks skinny to me.
The handsome, to you. Yeah, look at that.
He looks middle-aged. He looks like he has a dad bod, but he doesn't look like he's overweight.
I wish I was that fat.
I think he's actually quite handsome. He's a salt and pepper. This guy could be an underwear model. The fuck, man? We're worried about he get COVID.
Don't push it, Charlie.
Yeah, don't go too nuts about it.
All right, Cabrera, we'll let you go, man. Thank you. God bless you.
I appreciate you taking the time and enjoy your winter, you Michiganders.
Oh,
and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Hey, did you guys get the dogs in the chili?
Oh yes, yeah, and we ate them and they were delicious. I got some pictures. I need to send them to you guys, but yeah, we went to town on those things, including a bunch of your Michigan guys who were up here. Down here.
And what is the name of that fine establishment that sent them?
American Coney Island.
That's it, brother. Okay, now you know what? Super Bowl's coming.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Detroit ain't never going to get to no Super Bowl, but if you want a little Detroit in your Super Bowl,
what should we do?
You order the Coney kit from American Coney Island. You go to AmericanConeyIsland.com.
It's pretty simple.
Let's roll the tape. Oh, by the way, this is Friday. What's the date?
The 28th.
28th. You got until next Saturday, the...
not the 28th, 6th.
So, yeah, something like that. Okay, let's see. Wait. 28th, 29th, 30, 31.
5th.
The 5th? Yeah. You got to the 5th to go to AmericanConeyIsland.com so they get to your Super Bowl party. If you order them on the 6th, they ain't going to get there. Okay? So let's roll the tape.
I don't know why I'm in the desert in my underpants. I don't know why these wolves are following me, but I need sausage. I look in my fridge. Oh my, what do I see? Sausage. You may run with a pack, but everything ain't meant to be said. Sausage. No need to cross the desert. No need to cross 8 miles. Who these wolves be? Get back, bitch. Sausage. Order a Coney kit directly to your door at AmericanConeyIsland.com.
Cabrera's laughing. It ain't easy to make that motherfucker laugh. Look, he's like Hector Macho Camacho back there.
That needs to be a Super Bowl commercial right there.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, my God.
That's what, you know what I mean. Johnny Depp's doing the Sauvage perfume bullshit.
Yeah.
He's in the desert playing his rock and roll guitar.
Yeah, with wolves.
That shit cost $10 million to make, plus $2 million to be on a Super Bowl. We did it for $100.
I know. It's
And
great.
a Coney kit.
And it shows.
And it shows.
It's perfect. I love how it's the slug line at the end, man. That's great. What a pro.
Shit. You know how we can fix that commercial?
No, how?
We call ADR.
Oh, damn it.
ADR, man.
Yes.
They do it all. They do high tech. They do low tech. They do construction, deconstruction, demo, City Hall. They work City Hall for you to get it done, to get it right. It's on time. It's ethical. It's smart. Right?
Yeah. 248. You ask me every year.
I was going to do Barry Ellentuck.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Barry
Got it myself.
Ellentuck. Call him for the consultation at
248.
yes
318.
yes
9424.
248-318-9424. Mention the No Bullshit News Hour and tell them you need someone to fix your shit. Thank you.
Amen.
All righty, folks. I got to let you go, but I appreciate you guys having me.
Wait a minute. I'm in the middle of a bit, bro. I will excuse you when it's time to go. And then you get your ass to the border and start working, motherfucker. You guys letting terrorists slip in here. Wait a minute. I'm not done. Now listen. If you're a terrorist and, you know, you want to grow your assets a little bit, you know what I mean? You're trying to get your little terroristlet, your little baby, your Nina, your terrorist Nina. You know what I mean? Hey, Issam. You know, let's say you take those assets from that Lebanese bank that you're hiding it all in, and you don't.
Oh, Charlie.
Well,
that sounds really racist overtones.
No.
Just trying to segue.
What are you talking about? No. Look, it says right here. The dude's got a bank account in Lebanon.
Ooh.
He's saying he doesn't have any money, but he's flying from Caracas to Monterey, then paying the smuggler how much, Cabrera? Maybe 10 grand to go from Monterey to Matamoros? Huh?
Yeah, at minimum. They charge them a lot, especially when they know they're not from they know they're from farther south. They charge them a lot more to cross that river.
Yeah, now wait a minute. Now here, Karen, that's bullshit. Let me just tell you something. When my mother's third marriage was collapsing and I had to get away, my best friend, I ain't gonna say his name. Okay, I'm gonna say his first name. I love you, Osama. That was the warm, safe place to do the homework, right? That's my bestie. No, fuck that. That's bullshit. I'm an Arab. You understand what I'm saying? I'm from here. That makes me an Arab. That's my family. That's not racist. I don't give a fuck if you're from Russia, Chechnya. You know what I mean? I don't care if you an asshole like in the Bronx that kills cops. You're a fucking terrorist. I'm against it. But again, you got a kid. You might need to grow your assets. The kid could grow up to be better than you. Isn't that what we all want?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Play the music. You call Luke Nowacki. Separately owned. Yes, that's right. Royal Alliance Associate, Luke Nowacki, for your financial help. Don't guess. Don't be getting in a raft and jumping over a river trying to make a better life. Take what you have, and grow your assets.
That's Royal Alliance and Associate Incorporated.
That's right, at 248-663-4748.
They specialize in security.
They do security.
That's what they do.
National security, border security, and financial security. Luke Nowacki, 248-663-4748.
Not every segue is going to be a gem.
That was awesome.
I liked it.
Karen throwing in the racist bomb. Like the worst thing.
That. I said that comment had racial undertones.
How did it?
I didn't say you were a racist. I know you're not a racist. Relax, Charlie.
Oh,
Finish
thank God. Jeez, wow. Man, that's the worst thing to call somebody, and you're deliberately throwing it around. Freaking liberals. Jeez.
Well, now I'm a liberal. Okay.
I'm for a more perfect union. Look at us. We look like the Brady Bunch when they adopted those kids. We're like United Colors of Benetton, but the only one that can afford it is you.
Sure, Jan.
Oh, by the way, interest rates are going up.
Oh, yeah.
I got to tell you, people, make the move.
Yep.
Refi, get the house, get the loan, lock it in while it's low. Don't wait. This David Hall, and he's wearing a really nice tie.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. Choosing between a 15 or 30-year mortgage can be difficult, which is why we offer the Modern Mortgage, a flexible term that's customized for you. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
All right.
Callhallfirst.com.
You got it.
Get moving, people. You see what the stock market's doing. It's call Luke, it's rumbling, and call David. You call David. You trust David?
Oh my God, yeah.
The best.
Well, they're super easy to use. By the way, too, it's not just refinancing. If you want to buy a house, just make sure you have your finances all straight.
Now's the time, and they get those appraisals done in like 8 days, right? They get the whole kit and caboodle done.
Yeah.
The whole deal. The appraisal, the loan.
They'll handle it for you super fast.
Yeah. Even if you're a mess.
Kevin said 3.
Huh?
What?
Kevin's pointing up 3 fingers.
I wondered why. Yeah. Oh, wow.
What's 3, Kevin?
3 days?
He's muted.
You got it done in 3 days?
Kevin, it's come on, man. Get in the COVID world. Unmute.
No appraisal needed.
Who, you?
Oh.
You
Yes.
did? Wow.
Oh, wait, you're a mortgage broker?
Yes, I am.
Okay, listen.
Wow.
Yeah, what's David Hall's reputation? It's a good one, isn't it?
It's a good one.
He hates to say it. It's competition, but it's a good one.
It's a good one.
Okay. Look at that. You know, that's why he's got
Honest
nearly
man.
5,000 five-star reviews.
And First Securities Mortgage has more.
Oh, well, that'll be edited
Oh,
out.
I like that.
We'll fix that in post, David. Didn't know. All right, Cabrera, you're excused, bro. Love you, man.
All right, I appreciate you guys. You guys have a great rest of the day.
All right.
you.
All right.
All right.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Chris. Bye.
That's a good man.
All right.
I know. He's such a straight to the point, no BS, like just love it.
Yeah, me too. All right, hey, George, did you watch the State of the State?
I cover crime. I don't do politics, man.
Well, then you should have watched it.
This thing was
That's the same thing, George.
Yeah. So they say, yeah.
This thing was a murder scene.
I think there was a rerun of Gilligan's Island on that at the time. So yeah, I watched that instead. But.
Okay, so here's real quick. Okay, so the governor says she is fixing the damn roads, right?
Okay.
$4.7 billion to repair, replace, and rehabilitate 13,198 lane miles of road. That means if it's got 3 lanes, 1 mile is actually 3. So that's really. Here's the deal, madam. Stop with the bullshit. What you did was you borrowed a lot of money because we wouldn't raise our gas tax 50 cents. Then Joe Biden came with all that money. Every governor's looking like a winner with $10 billion in infrastructure and COVID money.
Hard not to, yeah.
That's horse shit. Okay. Putting money in families' pockets. You want to give pensioners a $1,000 rebate on the pension tax. That's because they hate you.
Mm-hmm.
That's because they know what you did with the nursing homes, which you didn't talk about. Okay, I'm going to leave the rest of it. I want to introduce in Kevin Bledsoe. Hey, Kev.
Hello.
It's important to say that your uncle, Norman Bledsoe, was the guy in the nursing home in the beginning of the COVID flare-up who was horribly beaten by a 20-year-old guy the state decided to put in the room with him, correct?
That's correct.
Let's just, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Communicating with Joe.
Forget Joe. Let's put that tape on so people might remember this. It was horrible and it went around the world, and it's a great stain. This, a 20-year-old guy that the state decided to put in with a 75-year-old guy, and this guy's getting off, filming himself beating old people to death.
And putting it on social media. Okay,
so, Kevin, here's the deal, brother. I made it my business when I saw that. I did. It wasn't right. The policy wasn't right. And if the governor's going to backtrack and not talk about that, nobody died because of my commingling policy of taking infected people and putting them in nursing homes. I know at least one man that died, and that was your uncle. We have not rehearsed. I don't know what you're going to say. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely correct.
Well, then speak up for the old people, because we now know that at least 2,500 people in these facilities weren't even counted. Did you hear about that?
Yes, I did.
And what is your feeling, sir?
Basically, I mean, from the beginning, when she first issued the order for these youth or whatever that were being held to go into the nursing homes, we had no idea that my uncle was actually in a nursing home at that time because he self-admitted himself. But I thought that when she did that, it was kind of asinine and backwards. Why would you commingle those people with senior citizens? But I didn't think any more of it at that time until the videos arose that were sent to my family members of my uncle being pummeled by this kid in this nursing home. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And that's when we really got upset. And obviously, there are legal actions and things of that nature going on at this point. But that was the dumbest decision I think she's made since she's been in office.
And have you heard enough from her? An admission?
Haven't heard anything.
And how does that make you feel? I feel like an NFL sideline reporter. And how do you feel?
You feel left out. You feel like nobody's listening. You're trying to sweep it under the rug like it didn't actually happen. And it's still not being addressed at this point in any way, shape, or form for a lot of these families.
You mean not only what happened, but what's going on now?
Exactly.
Because I don't know what the state's doing to make nursing homes livable.
Nothing.
Wow. Charlie, I keep getting pictures from a gentleman, and he wants me to show them to you. I'm not sure if he shared them with you, of the food that they're feeding people in the nursing homes. I'm going to make those available. It is horrible. My dog eats better than that. So when you're talking about the conditions of the nursing homes and the people that are there, it's terrible from top to bottom.
And I don't understand. The big news is, here, let me look at it. Here's the free press. GM puts its money down on Michigan, automaker to invest historic $7 billion, creating 4,000 jobs. Maybe. But what it doesn't say is nearly $1 billion of that is our COVID relief money. So we're feeding seniors what? Dog food, Kevin.
Less than that.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Getting beat to death, to die. I'm sorry, man. We never met, Kevin. I dig you, man. You got a really nice face. You're a super sweetheart. You didn't put David Hall down. Just my kind of guy, my brother. We got to do better because we're the next ones.
I mean, the reality of it is if your family is not well off or financially well enough to put you in a private institution or a private senior citizen
very well off.
Very well off. And if you have to go to a public facility, or like my uncle, he just checked himself in. He didn't call anybody in the family. He's always been that kind of guy. But where he ended up, he shouldn't have been. And that kid should have never been there in the first place. We've got to do better as far as our seniors, as far as the public facilities and basically where they're cared for at this time.
And it's so interesting you said that, dude, because when we're talking about the 2,500 people they didn't count, those are people drawing a government check and living in these government-sanctioned facilities. The private, you put it really well. The nice, fancy private ones also fell under the governor's emergency declaration, and we decided not to count a single person who died of COVID there. I'll tell you the reason why it's important. If you're tracking kids and horny college students, humping in a closet at a frat party, you're not finding out where the death happened. Look, this is COVID. I swear, I tell you right now, I have never lied to you people. At least half of the people that died in Michigan were living in one of these institutions. Ain't no doubt in my mind.
And it wasn't a private institution. They didn't move them to the private institutions, just the public ones.
Did your uncle get a nice funeral?
Yes, he did.
Very
nice. He was a veteran. Family was there.
He was a veteran.
Wonderful.
Wait a minute.
Yes,
did he serve in a war, or was he in peacetime? What did
he was in peacetime.
And would it be around the Korean War time?
Korean War time, yes.
A freaking veteran died like that.
It's probably more often than not, Charlie. That's the thing that we keep forgetting. These are the things that we hear about. Had we not known or heard, or there had been the circumstances surrounding Mr. Bledsoe's uncle, think about all the ones that get passed by that nobody knows about, nobody hears about, and it's so commonplace. So, I mean, again, we talked about this at the onset when you talked to the young man in the nursing home, and they talked about how they were not separating, the patients or people that may have been exposed to or compromised by COVID. This is nothing new. We talked about a lot of process. is too much process. How much process does it take to have regularly scheduled inspections, certifications, questioning of licensing on a regular basis? You got 50 million people doing nothing. And this is what happens.
Go ahead, Kevin. You're like, thank you. I mean,
I'm just thinking.
Everybody yell. Go, let it out.
Oh, hey, Kevin, this is George Hunter. We've talked a few times on this case. How you doing?
Well,
good. And yourself?
I'm good.
Thank you, George.
Baby.
Well, yeah, on this particular case, it wasn't just in a vacuum. This particular defendant, Mr. Hayden, had issues, as you know, in Ypsilanti with an assault in another nursing facility. It was a misdemeanor assault, and he was to be charged. This was out of Washtenaw County.
Wait, you mean during COVID?
Yeah, he didn't get adjudicated because it was a misdemeanor assault.
So he beat ass in Ipsy during COVID,
allegedly.
And then they moved him?
Allegedly,
allegedly. Yeah.
He's not been convicted of it, but but it was a misdemeanor assault involving another facility in Ypsilanti. I'm sure you know this, Kevin. And then they moved him there. Last I heard, the defendant, Mr. Hayden, Jaden Hayden, he was being evaluated, correct? Is that where it still stands? I have a little note to look into the case every now and then. Last time I checked, he was still being mentally.
I think it's cleared. I was going to ask you, where's that? Because he's competent to stand trial.
He is competent to stand
trial. But there are no trials, George.
Kevin's saying no.
No?
As of this week, our family was notified that he is still not competent. They're giving him 6 more months of evaluation, and they'll redetermine at that time.
Time out.
He's in that.
Where is he right now?
Last I checked, he was in that Ipsy. What is it called? The something facility.
So he's in jail.
It's a mental institution.
Okay, he's in a mental house.
Yes.
But they decided to put him in a nursing home.
The forensic. There's a name of it. It's
yeah.
an Ipsy. Yeah, it's escaping me.
Holy smokes! Wow. So now he gets to go to a holding facility, and twice he gets to go and harm our elderly.
Yes.
Fuck me. God. Okay. You know where we should put him? With the Issam Bazzi. We put him all in the house.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
That would work.
This is amazing, but not so much. All right,
Kevin, you were saying though that, and I don't know, and Charlie, you might know these numbers better, but but when they did the commingling and sending them, you said it was a majority public institutions. They would.
Yeah, look, like the things that are.
I think the public-private part is kind of fascinating.
The point is this: when you have a nursing home, a skilled nursing facility that gets Medicaid and Medicare fucking vouchers.
Yeah.
So it's registered with the state. Same with like Home for the Aged, adult foster care. They get government money. When you go to a place Kevin's talking about, right, Kevin, it's like Uncle sells his house, and it's a private place, and he burns through the money, and when his money's gone, then he gets moved to one of these joints.
Gotcha.
The state never even bothered to check these joints out, and I know for a fact at least 200 people that died in these private joints. It's got to be in the thousands.
Wow. Okay.
It's a joke. It's your
disaster.
Your stupid state of the state with a Silverado in the background. Get to work! Oh, Slip and Jimmy Craig got, you know who he got?
Who?
He's now got the campaign guy. His chief strategist is the guy that got Glenn Youngkin elected.
In Virginia. Commonwealth.
This thing just got real. George, you covered James Craig, the police. All of a sudden, you're going to be busy, dude. Everybody in the country is going to be calling George Hunter. Because it's live.
They do anyway, don't they, George?
When I owe them money, yes. Then they call me.
Nobody calls us. Just pretend we're not.
I'm a print reporter. Nobody knows who I am.
Well, I mean, that just ratchets it up a pretty good notch.
Oh, the print reporter. What a great career that is, dude. I mean, the business sucks. You
don't get paid, but other than that, it's great.
You used to kind of get paid. Yeah, the overtime and good benefit, pensions.
I can't complain.
What a beautiful life that is.
You know what, though, Charlie? I have to say this: 2 things. George enjoys what he does, and it shows. It resonates in everything that he writes. And over his career, he has earned the respect of people that don't agree on both sides. The cops love him. The crooks love him. Everybody because
and they all hate him.
Well, that's okay, but he stands firm.
Thank you.
Just like you.
That's
just
awfully
like you,
nice
Charlie.
of you. Thank you.
Just that's the truth, George. I mean, just like Charlie.
How's that memoir coming?
Respect you, even if they don't agree with you.
George, how's that memoir coming?
Still working on it.
He posted the opening of his memoir. It's fab, dude.
Thank you.
Get out of here. Forget this bullshit you go write today and write that memoir. It's amazing.
Thank you.
The guy grew up in the Cass Corridor.
Wow.
I always the opening line is three of my siblings were cops, three of my dads were in prison. So it's actually true.
Yeah,
great line.
And his grandpa was the first broadcast newsman in Michigan.
Television.
Wow.
1946.
46, yeah. And then he went on to do radio for years in Keener 13.
And then your dad was like the ne'er-do-well son who robbed an old lady, beat her up, she died, and he went to prison.
Wow.
And then George.
Yeah, write that memoir.
I'm somewhere in between there.
I mean, damn.
I never beat anybody up and killed him, I promise.
Super cool. Super cool. All right,
Allegedly.
Kev, you want to have, you can just, what are you saying? Unmute yourself.
No, I just wanted to say, George, a lot of people tried to approach me about my uncle in this story. You were the only one that actually got me to talk about it. And I'm glad that you got me to talk about it. And we talked a little bit on a few other conversations, but I really enjoy your work.
I appreciate it. I appreciate talking to me, Kevin. It was, it's an important story, and it needs to be covered.
Kevin, I know it's virtual, so you want me to reach around and give him a hand job?
Listen up,
Harley, please behave.
Stop it, Karen.
My wife might have a problem with that.
I've got gloves.
I know Karen as well.
Oh,
she may not remember me, but I know Miss Dumas as well.
I remember your name, Kevin. I just couldn't. I was staring. I couldn't place it. So you'll have to remind me.
Founding member of Charivari.
Oh, well, I just got a great sweatshirt from Todd. Yep.
You know, I remember Kevin Bledsoe.
Right now.
Got it.
I remember Kevin. He was the guy Tom Brady replaced, Kevin Bledsoe.
I wish I was related.
All right, Kev, we're gonna move along here. You can hang with us if you're enjoying yourself.
Actually, I have a closing to go to, guys.
Oh, wow. Closing. Listen.
Tell Mr. Hall we're catching up.
Hey, David,
watch yourself. Yeah,
they're catching up. Either that, or maybe you should poach.
Just hire him away.
You should poach Kevin because David Hall and Associates, like, they got the best of the best. You seem to be one of them. David, give him a call. Make him a sweet offer. And by the way, is that your office, Kevin?
Yes, it is.
It's horrible, bro. If you're going to try to, you need like a fireplace and some horns and
apologize.
Fireplace.
What are you talking about? Don't apologize to him yet.
Oh, don't listen to Charlie. He talks about mine too. So go ahead, Kevin. Don't worry. And he's in the lower level, so don't worry about it.
It's called the basement. Regular people talk. All right, Kevin. God bless you, man. And
thank you, guys.
Let's stay together on this, right? Let's get some justice for those still alive.
I'm always available, guys. Willing to do anything. I appreciate your time.
My brother.
Good talking to you, Kevin. Take care.
Bye, Kevin.
Sure.
Take care. Thanks.
George, wow. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah. I was like, Kevin Bledsoe, that name sounds familiar. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, I remember him. There's so many people you talk to. After a while, you lose track.
Oh, it's true.
You need to remind. I always get a call sometimes from a mom, and I always feel bad. She'll say, you covered my son's murder in 1999, and she'll give me his name. And it's the worst thing in her life, and I honestly don't remember it. And I feel terrible. I'll be Googling it or going through our archives because I don't want to insult her. I mean, that's the worst thing that ever happened in her life. And it's like, I don't want to say it's just another one because there's no such thing. But when you've covered as many for 20-something years, you don't remember them all. And I don't want to insult the lady by not remember. But to Kevin, I remembered the name, and I had to kind of remember for a minute. Where do I know that name from?
Let me give you a quick one, too. Mama Shu over there in Highland Park, she, recreating the neighborhood and doing the homework house. Her son was killed. It was a year ago. Okay. She got nothing. She's been I'm going to get to it. Mm-hmm. She's been calling me up. She knows who did it.
Okay. Those are always tough because you can't put that in the paper.
I know, but there's a more crafty way about a woman and the angst.
Oh, yeah.
See, I know you got it in
There's
you.
so many of those, the stories. And
if I was your boss, dude, I'd have you writing first-person shit. We who buy these newspapers, I want to know you. I want to take a dump.
I try the opposite. I don't want anybody to know me. I want to be invisible.
Well, you're writing a memoir then.
Well, I mean that's for when I retire. That one won't get published until I retire. No, I think I should be invisible. That's kind of how I try to do it. Let the people talk, and my voice just kind of be transparent. But there are stories.
I would make you do it.
I'm remiss, to be honest with you. I don't do as many as I should from the people's standpoint. I think that's one of my little pet peeves that I've kind of made a thing is I'm not going to use the word expert experts in my, I told my editor this, I don't want to use the word experts in my story anymore. Because as far as I'm concerned, crime experts isn't some criminal justice. It's Mrs. Smith who lives on the east side. That's the crime expert. You want to know what to do about crime? Go talk to her. She'll tell you. Because they know what's up. You know, somebody that's in a college, or they sit in these rooms and they cook up these ideas and these theories and these slogans or whatnot. And I mean, I've always said to people, and I'm not trying to make myself. No, that's what it is. I mean, if you really honestly want the experts, go to the hood.
I'm telling you,
go to the hood.
You want to know how to tie that whole sentiment to the beginning of this program? That's what I'm saying about Cabrera. That's what I'm saying about the border. You pinheads in Washington. You think you know shit, and you do your smart decree Ivy League bullshit. It's the hood, dude.
That's where you're going to find out.
You got to get on the block to know what the fuck is going on.
If you want to know, I mean, again, people cook up these theories and things, and I'm like, have they ever even have they talked to somebody who lives in one of these neighborhoods ever? Have they been a victim of a crime? Do they know anybody who's a criminal? That helps too.
Just what George is saying, just about that applies to everything. You consistently have people that are either trying to tell a story or fix a problem that they know nothing about. And that's why they can't do it. Both of you are not afraid to go into neighborhoods and talk to people that don't look or live like you. And that's what's elevated you far above.
That sounds racist. I was just trying to find a place to call you a racist.
Karen, more
people call you a racist than me. You know that, right? White people think you're a racist.
A lot of people think I'm a lot of things.
That's supposed to hurt you more than that. You're supposed to really be bothered by that.
I'm sorry.
That's a great response. A lot of people think I'm a lot of things.
Well, talking about fixing stuff.
Yeah.
We are trying to be legitimate and entertaining and bring you interesting people, interesting thoughts, original news. And last week, I had Jordan Cheriton on. We're talking about how the Flint racketeering charges just evaporated, right? Mm-hmm. A clarification, which is what real legitimate news organizations do. Corrections, clarifications. Let me clarify. It was asked why Flint was allowed to drink from the river without the old water treatment plant being in shape.
Yeah, verified, and they got a waiver.
And it was talked about 2 waivers. The state did a waiver. It's sort of correct. You got to remember, sort of correct. The waiver was you didn't have to put the corrosion chemicals in there. That was the waiver that the state gave. Now,
huge mistake.
EPA did not give a waiver. Here's what the EPA. This come from a water treatment guy at the plant. At the plant, bro. At the time. Not gonna say his name. Just listen to the Jailhouse Kool-Aid podcast. He writes to me. Your guest reported that Flint was given a waiver to operate utilizing the Flint River as their source to avoid completing the 2 6-month monitoring periods for lead and copper sampling before going online. That was for corrosion. That was the waiver. Here's the trick. Unfortunately, there was no waiver by the EPA. That's actually an EPA requirement that after changing a water source, the water supply must conduct the monitoring periods utilizing customer taps. 2 6-month periods of EPA monitoring it while people are actually drinking it. So he says they actually require the system to be online for sampling to get real-world data. The EPA does this in other areas as well to make the end user the guinea pigs for testing.
Oh,
by the way, I'm not trying to absolve Flint of any blame, but in reality, people should be pissed at the EPA and their policies. Is that correct? Do you understand what I'm saying here?
Yeah, that's amazing. They allow an area to be a guinea pig.
Yeah.
And let the residents.
You're going to switch water sources.
Wow, what a
I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to get in there every 6 months and conduct a test. And you know what? If the test doesn't come back properly in 6 months, you've got 6 more months to fix that. I'm fucking dying.
Well, it's Flint, too. I mean.
What you talking about, man? Fucking racist.
I was talking more about the economic position of Flint. What a
rich white people.
An easier place to be guinea pigs, right? I mean, would they do it to Birmingham?
No, but people in Birmingham wouldn't allow it. You got to remember, when you have access to a different level of resources, you can pick up a phone for your attorney or a friend that you've made a political contribution to. You know how to oppose something outside of complaining to your friends and neighbors. It's a whole different level of logistics and navigation to oppose something.
And let's break this down, though. People are people. People are people.
Right.
Everybody got a right to look at something and say it's not right and make some noise. So sometimes when you're lazy and you're just accepting their word for it, you ought not to. The nursing homes are fine. The water's going to be fine. No, man, stand up for yourself.
But
and I know a lot of people in Flint did.
How.
Well, I'm talking to reporter, Karen.
I'm sorry.
We're looking at him. And you can look at us. Look at us. I'm going to go in his camera with him.
Oh,
right over here.
Okay.
We failed you, Flint. We did. We didn't pay enough attention.
And they just broke their homicide record last year too, so there's that to add to the mix. You know, the violence in Flint is ridiculous at this point. I'm about to do a look at that.
Great, let's go up there
We
together.
touched on it, but
will you be the official crime reporter for the No Bullshit News?
fortunately, actually, I'm paid by a different news organization.
Yeah,
so
but I
as
used
long
to
as they
work there
continue
too.
to
Family shit.
you know, my allegiance is to my paper, but you know,
unofficially be the crime reporter for the No Bullshit.
The unofficial.
All right.
Crime dog. Okay, so here's the deal. The EPA, remember, because I remembered this. Remember the lead and water copper rule? And there was a guy named Miguel, I think Del Toro for short. He worked for the EPA. He said these lead things don't look right. That shit started drifting out. EPA fucking knew. Okay, what is the name of the director of the EPA? McCarthy's her last name. Elena, something like that. McCarthy. Okay. She got her ass chewed out and roll this tape. This was the head of the EPA trying to dodge the EPA's culpability in the mass poisoning of Flint.
So here you have a city who's begging for help. They know.
This is Congressman
Jason
Chaffetz. He's not a congressman anymore, but head of oversight. Boom, this was pretty good. Go ahead.
So here you have a city who's begging for help. They know they're in trouble. Okay, they're asking for that help, and I've got email after email from the Environmental Protection Agency saying, you know what, maybe you should hold off because we're not sure. Maybe there is confusion under the lead and copper rule. Maybe we are supposed to do 6 months of testing. I'm not excusing them at all, but you need to take some responsibility because you screwed up and you messed up 100,000 people's lives. 100,000 of them. 10,000 of those people are 6 years old and younger. And you take no responsibility. You don't think you did anything wrong, right? You don't think there's anybody did anything wrong.
I already indicated that we could have worked more aggressively.
Yeah.
I wish we had. Can I explain the memo? Would you like me to?
I want you to have an appreciation and an understanding of why the DEQ people are confused by the direction from the Department of Environmental from the EPA.
There was no confusing signal sent from the agency.
What were they
during
supposed
this
to
period
do?
Of time.
Should they have put the phosphates in the water, yes or no?
Not dumping it in without connecting with the experts, and they did not have the expert voice at the table because they refused to let us to the table.
They were at the table. It comes from
That
the
is not
EPA.
Sir,
She
I'm
starts
sorry.
the email.
That is not the task force we're talking about to provide technical expertise.
Wow.
Bureaucratic bullshit.
Yep.
You ain't going to say it, are you, George?
Hey, I just put the little squiggly lines around when they say he said. You know, I don't say anything. That's
Karen,
what-
you run
that's what the
government.
quote is.
You have. What is that?
Gobbledygook, actually. And the crazy thing I was thinking about, Charlie, too, is that when you try to be upfront and factual, when it's not necessarily attractive, a lot of people get offended. They don't want to hear that. They want something that's going to make them feel better. But we've been talking about Flint for far too long, and the issue is still unresolved. And now we have Benton Harbor on top of that. So I expect to have these problems almost in a domino effect impact other cities in Michigan. I don't drink the water out of my faucet. I don't trust it. I'm telling you. I
drink it. I got a lead line. Fuck it. I grew up when there was lead in the gas, lead in the paint. You know what I mean? Flint's different than Benton Harbor because you switched over and people got Legionnaires and fucking died.
That's true, Charlie, but aren't we entitled to what we pay for? And that's the basics of clean water.
One hundo.
I just wish Gina McCarthy could admit that they messed up.
Gina McCarthy's her
sounds
name.
really stupid.
Yeah.
What happened to her?
What bullshit with her? This bullshit. You know, you shouldn't be driving an ice cream truck. She's not. Don't worry about it. You know what she's doing now?
I don't know.
You know what she's doing now?
I don't, but yeah, no.
Guess what? Breaking news.
Oh, no.
Scared to ask.
Breaking news. Failed EPA Director Gina McCarthy now runs Biden's, what is it? What's the buzzword?
I don't know. What is she?
She's the global warming czar.
The National Climate Advisor.
National Climate Advisor. The one talking about gas and electric vehicles and the grid. This dope.
She failed up again. Another one failed.
Dope is now making decisions that radically change life on Earth. Wow. This dope talking about not the right task force. I can say it now, George. I'm free. What a dope. You're out of here. Oh, yeah. How's it going for Robert Gordon, the guy that was running the Michigan Health Department, who wasn't counting dead people at the nursing homes? Has the Senate confirmed his assistant secretary of the United States Health and Human Services Department? We say no. You still say no?
Yeah, we voted last week. No.
Karen, do you still say no?
Yes, I still say no.
Mannequin?
No.
That's a no. Fuck this, man. We're apolitical. I'm voting communist next time. Just to show you liberals. Like, people pick on me like, you're slanted. Well, your stuff's not slanted, but your outlook is slanted because you go after Democrats. And I go, that's all I got around here.
This is a call from and paid for by.
Oh,
dang, Wayne County Jail.
We got Wayne County Jail calling in.
Wayne County Jail. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
By us.
Press 1 to accept all communications from this inmate and Telmate.
I'm not paying, no.
Oh, Drew is.
Hello?
Thank you for using Telmate.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Who's this?
Yeah, how you doing? This is Anthony Charles.
Hey, Anthony, what's going on?
What's going on, man? I know you were telling me to call you back in 40 minutes, man, but I couldn't get to the phone.
What do you mean? What do you mean you couldn't get to the phone?
I couldn't get to the phone. They had called me out on medical. I went to medical.
You got COVID?
No. Just checking my blood pressure and checking my heart rate.
Well, it sounds real nice there. You getting like physicals and stuff.
Oh, no, it ain't nothing nice about the Wayne County Jail. It's all bad. It's all bad. The food bad. They put me around people that got COVID. Shit, the air is all messed up here. The food is all messed up. You got all types of insects in the food. It's all messed up here.
What'd you eat today?
I've been here for over 2 years.
What?
2 years? Wait, whoa. 2 years.
I've
2
been
years.
here over 2 years.
In jail.
So you're charged, you're waiting trial, and you're not getting a trial?
It's not about trial. It's about my attorney's not working for me, and I'm filing motions. Trying to prove my innocence before I get convicted for a crime that I didn't do and have to spend 25, 15 years in jail to go through the innocent clinic to get out.
Well, now we got super crime dog George Hunter with the Detroit News here. He's going to adjudicate this case. George, I'm going to ask Anthony here. Anthony, you got 30 seconds. 30 seconds to plead your case and your innocence. And if you go over 30 seconds, we're going to hang up the phone. And I'm going to give you a countdown. And then George is going to give you his decision. Okay, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're on the clock.
Okay, yeah. One of my girlfriends, they did something to her, committed a crime, all type of stuff. I got DNA evidence proving I committed no crime. I got 3 attorneys on the case. They not agreeing with me. They end up getting off my case. Let me see what else. I have all type of evidence proving I'm innocent. The judges and the prosecutors are all in cahoots. The attorney, the investigators are all in cahoots. I have paperwork proving my innocence. And I really like my case to be looked over.
3,
I'm
2,
finished.
Nice. George?
What paperwork do you have that proves your innocence?
I have a DNA report from the state police. And I have the complaint felony and the warrant felony.
And you say your lawyers aren't cooperating with you? Why not? What's the snag?
Let me see. I had Harold Collins. I had Sharon Wilside. Those are my court appointed attorneys. I hired Mr. Collins. Todd Perkins. I hired him.
I know Todd.
Yeah.
I know Todd, too.
Everybody knows Todd, yeah.
Hey, everybody knows Todd. Todd ain't what I'm going to put it out there. Todd ain't what he cut up to be. You see what I'm saying? When it comes to a person that knows a smidget about the law, he feels intimidated. The man, I paid this man and he got off my case because he said he couldn't control me. When I go to court, I give Todd Perkins the opportunity to do his thing, his professional expertise.
Let me do this. Let me do this. One more question, George.
Oh, what are you charged with?
Unlawful imprisonment, assault by strangulation, felony firearm 3 times, domestic violence.
Who are they saying you strangled?
One of my girlfriends.
One of your girlfriends?
One, you should be in jail for having more than one girlfriend. How
Hell
many
no,
girlfriends
man.
do you have?
No. That guy should be on a parade float.
You're guilty. Not forget it.
Of too much love.
Okay, George, give him your number. Give society at large.
I was just going to suggest if you want to send me what materials you have, I can take a look at them. It's G Hunter at Detroit.
Hold on.
Yeah, thanks.
G Hunter.
Yes, sir.
G Hunter.
At DetroitNews.com.
At DetroitNews.com.
Yeah, send me whatever documents you have. I'll absolutely take a look at them. And give me a contact number if you have if you have a family member or something. Put their number on there, and then that's easier to contact. Than somebody who's behind, in jail.
That good, Tony?
Not a problem.
That good?
Not a problem.
Okay, working for you, man. And by the way, I've always encouraged George to change his email address to BigGameHunter at DetroitNews.com. All right, man. Good luck in there, and keep it stiff.
I appreciate you. Good luck.
All right, man. Bye.
All right.
Yeah, a little community service. Are you really going to look into it?
Story? Yeah, well, I always do. I get a lot of those. I've done a lot of the wrongful conviction. I feel bad because I can't dig into these like I'd like to because I cover crime in Detroit. That would take an investigative reporter. Like they'll take the Innocence Clinic, will take one case on. They get a whole college classroom of kids that spend the entire semester on that one case. If I take one case, that means I don't get to cover any crime in Detroit for 6 years. I just can't do it.
Let's be honest. Yeah. The charge is you strangled your girlfriend and pointed a gun at her. I mean, what are you going to do with that?
Well, I mean, it depends on what the circumstance. There's more.
DNA.
I need more than that. Yeah.
He said he had DNA evidence that,
exonerated him.
Innocent.
That means his fingerprints weren't on the weapon.
Well,
if
my weapon would be his fingerprints.
That would be your hands.
In a strangulation case, yeah. I mean, yeah, I have to, you get a lot of claims of innocence. Everybody knows that. That's the old, and you can't blow them off. Because if 9 out of 10 are false, that means one is true.
That's usually how it is.
It's the same as school threats. The same thing. The minute you blow one off, that's going to be the one that so you got to look into them as much as you can.
Let us take a second there because I've been thinking of Oxford. You're not forgotten. Let's just have a moment. Yeah. Okay. Well, here's the other thing about DNA. For those of you that are listening and not watching, you can go to YouTube, you can go to Facebook, who, by the way, keeps putting us in a ghetto over here, like the story with the
what happened?
Terrorist.
When you shared
we got flagged for there's COVID information in here. Don't be misled. And I'm like,
it's good COVID information though.
Yeah, it's just a document that says
that he had COVID.
They let him out because he was fat.
Yeah.
And the thing about DNA evidence.
Hey, what about fat information?
Well, that's it. That. And look, here's the thing about DNA evidence. It doesn't fit. Look,
Thanks, Juice.
It doesn't fit. You can see this bit.
That opened up the whole Innocence Clinic thing, the Innocence Project. Before that, people would always kind of, everybody in prison says they're innocent. Well, it found that DNA was exonerating a lot of these guys. There's no wiggle room. They didn't do it, So I don't know what the percentage. Some say it's as high as maybe in double figures. 10% of the people in prison are wrongfully 4 or 5. There's a lot of, but certainly they're there.
We started this bit off with Red in the jailhouse, right? There's a real problem going on at the courthouse and the jails, which is we're not getting these cases. This Tony guy called in 2 years.
Yeah, the backlog is ridiculous. They had a backlog before this. If you remember, 36th District had to go on. Was it Judge? I can't think of his name.
Kenny King?
No, it wasn't King. It was another Talbot. They brought in to clear up the backlog, and that was 10, 15 years ago. So they weren't exactly up to date when all this COVID stuff happened. So, I mean, and then you look at the victim side too. You got defendants waiting for trials. You got victims. I just talked to a bunch of cops. They're ticked off because the alleged killer of Elaine Williams, his pre-trial hearing isn't even until October.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Pre-trial.
I mean, and this happened, 2 years ago. The murder happened. It was, and there's just a ton of those. Not even a trial set yet.
I'm going to make a shout out here to Warren Evans, the Wayne County executive. Sir, get this shit fixed, fund it, or I'm coming. I don't know if George is. George knows. I'm coming. Fix this, because that's an American right to a speedy trial that's enshrined in the Constitution. No matter what you think of any human being behind bars, they're presumed to be innocent and they deserve a trial. Fund it. Hey, Governor, fund it. GM's battery plant? No. Okay, done with that. Karen, before we go, what are we keeping our eye on in Detroit for next week and into the future?
Well, Charlie, unfortunately, is not as substantive as it should be.
You didn't do your homework? What are you, red? Go ahead, you racist.
I finally got my drugs from CVS, so bear with me.
The drugs. Let me come over and make sure they're fresh.
Just picked them up today. Took them 2 weeks to fill a narcotics prescription, but that's another story.
Well, those are old and stale. Maybe I should have them.
Perhaps, Charlie.
My buddy down in Clark Park, he can get them to you in about 20 minutes, man. I mean,
hey, that's what I was thinking. I
get you all the narcotics you want.
She'd drive right down there, but her accelerator foot don't fucking work.
I can't drive. I can't walk. But anyway, Charlie.
Wait a minute. I got an idea. We can do DoorDash. What do we call that? We call that like
drug dash.
Drug stash.
Hey, then you could be like Tyreek on Power, and you could have this delivery system. That's real. That's a new enterprise, Charlie.
That's old as the fucking hills.
Okay, I don't know. I never dealt drugs, but anyway, we're losing more people than we're getting.
Have you ever bought any illegal drugs?
No.
Would you like to buy some?
No.
I'm in a basement, Karen. Help me out here. I've got some old prescriptions.
Level, Charlie. Okay. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't want any illegal drugs.
Jesus.
I'm sorry. I'm the boring one. But anyway, We're losing more people than we're gaining in the city. Population was the thing that Mike Duggan said to judge him on. So, we're seeing all these new housing developments. We're continuing to build new places where there are no people to move in. I mean, near my house, there are 2 new developments. They've been empty since last summer. There's nobody in them. The other thing is that businesses continue to struggle post-pandemic, but yet we have a Gucci and a sugar factory that are scheduled to open in Dan Gilbert's development downtown.
Do you think that's real? Because I went downtown this morning.
Charlie, that makes
the
no
coffee
sense to
shops
me.
aren't even open.
It makes no sense to me, and let me tell you why. The reason why stores, Hudson's and all the old day stores closed was because of the malls. When they ask you for your zip code when you purchase something, it's because they're tracking the demographics of their customer base. You go to Somerset. At either of those stores, you got a lot of strong Detroit consumers that are out there. I don't see them detracting from that by bringing them downtown. Now you want to say something that may sound racist? Then let's have this conversation.
Oh, yes.
They don't like that customer base at Somerset. They do not. So perhaps
what customer base?
The young Black kids that are spending a lot of money, on the name brands, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, those things. They don't like them, but they spend money. So maybe they're going to put some of their merchandise downtown to keep them away from the mall. Because when they announce that they're opening a Gucci downtown, they also announce that they're expanding the footprint of Gucci at Somerset. That just doesn't add up to me.
Listen to what she's talking about? Gucci.
And a sugar factory. Is that going to be one facility, or is that 2 separate?
She talking about Gucci and malts.
Charlie, I'm talking. This is the business of the city.
I'm just injecting stuff.
Paying attention to.
I know. Well, here's what we say. So I went downtown, and I'm looking at the skyscraper, this Hudson's thing. There's 2 guys on the top. I swear to God, they're pissing to figure out how far it'll blow in the wind. And then, Chemical Bank's building one, and there's 1 guy up there. This is like 9:15. These are prime construction hours. It's warmer today, right? I don't see it. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about the great savior here, Dan Gilbert. if you read the August Business magazine here in Michigan, right, they told you a year ago, buy this RKT, this Quicken Loan, this rocket stock, because it's going to make us all rich. And you're going to take all its profit and keep building. The first day it traded, it closed at $20. Currently, right now, it's trading at $12.01. It's a good thing I don't subscribe to this August Business magazine. I told you, be careful. The economy's voodoo. We don't know what's happening. Inflation's running around. The Fed's got to raise interest rates. You better refi that house or get the house, right? They're going up. The reason interest rates are going up is to cool down inflation. If you make money tight and expensive, you can't get it and keep clicking on Amazon. You understand what I'm saying, folks? Here's another trick. It's not the supply chain strangulation. The world is producing more goods than it ever has. The fact is the government gave us a bunch of free money and we all went click, 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 click. The Port of LA is clogged because you want shit delivered to your door. 1201, 7% inflation, interest rates going up, people in the old folks' homes, like Karen's saying, people are dying, not being born. Don't be fooled. What story are we going to look at next week, Karen? What are we going to do in Detroit so we can scare them? Scare them.
You know what, Charlie? I don't know. We're going to take our time and really look at what's not being said, what's really going on, and what's really not going on that should be going on.
Nice. She should be fucking mayor. You know why she don't want to be mayor? It's impossible. You can't give the people what they need, and there's not enough money for the corporate thieves to be satiated. It's impossible almost, isn't it? It's an impossible job.
It is, Charlie. I mean, and especially the way the city has transitioned from Bing to Duggan, certainly Bing put some things in place to solidify the infrastructure. But now, you've got a great presentation, all style, no substance. And this is crumbling, maybe not before our eyes, but we're going to see it crumble very, very soon. The instability is undeniable.
Ah, shit.
You mentioned Gucci and Sugar Factory. We always hear about places opening. What is closed? I mean, you got to figure places are closing down there.
Well, we had a Vegan Soul that closed over here in West Village. We also had Great Lakes Coffee.
No, not the Vegan Soul.
Great Lakes Coffee has closed on Woodward. There are a lot of places that are closed, Charlie. I mean, and it's like, if you look at the camera shot of some of the news store in the mornings, there are no people downtown. You got to remember all these businesses were put down there on the pretense that all of Gilbert's people were working there. They're not working there anymore. There's nobody living there. There's nobody working there. Where have all the people gone? We didn't have any people. We brought them in and now they're gone.
Where have all the people gone?
Even if the COVID thing gets over, Greektown's hit because all those court people are going to move down toward. They're
farther north on 75.
That new pile of shit. Right. Have you seen that thing?
Yeah, there's not. Yeah, ain't much there. But yeah, there's thousands of people who go to lunch. Defendants, families, court. Court lawyers. I mean, they're going to lose a huge. They already did with the casinos that didn't bring with the smaller business. I talked to a couple businesses down there about that. So even when COVID's over in Greektown, they're hit.
The other big place that closed was the Under Armour store, which is directly across from the Hudson's building.
That's what you wanted Karen to say.
Well, no,
But driving around there this morning, there's a bunch of cool bars. They look like super cool, like New York type bars. I don't know the name of them, but I'm going to them. Mm-hmm. Nobody's in them, so no problem with the table. It really looks cool. Wasn't even aware what's going on there. Shinola Hotel, I haven't been in there yet. I mean, I've been in once, but
that's nice.
Not to hang out. Take my wife and try some of these places. I'm going to support them. I don't want them to
close.
I don't want them to close.
You want to have another racist conversation, Charlie?
Oh, you know what this all was?
What's that?
She wanted to dump racism on me so she could be a racist.
Oh, is that what it was?
It's classic Bull Connor bullshit.
And we don't need to get into this, but there's a conversation about there being two Detroits, and that a lot of times people that are native Detroiters, African Americans, don't feel comfortable or welcome in a lot of these new places. So that's another conversation.
Well, because they're smart. It's like, what's the fucking price?
Well, it's not even price, Charlie. It's just, things were different once upon a time, when the landscape was different. Now there's a certain group of people that feel empowered. And so they don't feel like they have to be courteous or kind or, because they're in charge.
Isn't that the universal problem, though? I know a lot of white people who don't feel, particularly comfortable in a black establishment. Can't we just get over that?
Well, I mean, I could tell you, growing up as a poor white kid,
PWT.
that conversation was being had 45 years ago.
PWK.
About two Detroits and downtown versus, that's not a new conversation. I remember the Rensen being built and watching it and people bitching about it. Look at they're spending all this money on this gleaming thing. This was in the mid 70s when I think Detroit was at its worst. And, everybody was bitching about that even then. So it transcends race.
What's the name of that building again?
The Rensen. It was in all the papers.
Rensen. What is Ren short for? What's Ren short?
Oh, that was one of the incarnations.
What's Ren short for?
That was Renaissance.
Renaissance.
The Detroit Renaissance.
What does that mean?
That was to rise from the ashes like a phoenix.
That's a French word. Renaissance, rebirth.
Something like that, yeah. I don't know. I don't speak French.
Like comeback?
You got the fancy college degree. I don't know.
I got the fucking master's degree, bitch, in journalism.
I got none, so yeah, but no. So that's not a new conversation, and I don't think it's necessarily restricted by racial parameters either. I mean, class, maybe the C word, but certainly I know my neighbors, most of whom were white trash, for lack of a better term, they were.
Hey, that's fucking racist term.
Same thing, 1973. 74.
You think it's okay just because you are? No, stop it right now, George. It's outrageous. Karen, admonish him, please.
No, I'm not going to do that, Charlie. And I don't mean to insinuate that everybody's racist. And I don't think that. I don't believe that. I don't live that. But I mean, we could really have a very exhaustive discussion about the landscape here in the city. And true, while it's not new, George, the thing about it is that when there was black leadership here in the city, there was a whole different vibe. That the minute that Mike Duggan was elected, things shifted, things changed. People didn't feel like they had to, be courteous. It's like, hey, we got this. Failed black leadership, shifted Detroit. It's different. And there are a lot of people, they may not say it publicly, but I am privy to a whole lot of conversations from people at every socioeconomic level that have a different perspective about how it feels to be in Detroit these days.
Let me say this, if I might. Thing I love, like, you're talking up there, she's talking up there about the contracts and leadership and, et cetera. Detroit, suburban Detroit, Michigan, I fucking love you. There is nobody got the soul that you got. If it wasn't that way, I'd be out of here. There are no people like you. I love you. This is the most interesting place in America.
Best news town in the country,
And
as far as
that
I'm
too.
concerned. Yeah, I mean, if you're a newspaper guy or a journalist, this is where you want to be.
Reporter.
Maybe Chicago, maybe Chicago, but
Ain't nobody doing Chicago cool. Nobody doing Chicago like
Detroit is
soul.
it's just always been one of the best news towns in the country.
Absolutely. And so it's very special. You got to dig the people, like this stuff we're talking about, Karen.
I'm listening.
And PWK. is like you got to embrace it, because if you can't function, right? It's a really truthful place, right? So just don't be afraid. And by the way, that's all we got for today. Terrorist, get the fuck out. Me and you out of here, motherfucker. Bye bye. Thank you, George. Super cool. Love you, Karen.
Love you back, you guys.
When I come over and roof of your foot. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.